start with a blank stage, emptiness, nothing.
I can feel the chemistry. I can feel the energy. You're trying to make her feel jealous.
People know something's going to go wrong.
The oh crap moment.
This is the time it's all going to fall apart.
Unless you have nerves of steel. It's a fairly high anxiety moment.
It's the miracle of the theater.
It's the torch in the cave.
Let's remember our lines and let's not bump into the furniture.
The show is the thing.
So your audition sheet, and this is some character breakdowns and a description of the sides.
That news machine would knock out our atoms from cradle to grave by the laws of motion is incomplete. Determinism leaves the road at every corner.
Thank you all for coming out this evening.
Say that I was being allowed to finish yesterday's upstairs rabbit pie. 5 minutes my
It's late winter, and the town players of New Canaan are holding open auditions for Arcadia.
Jesse, you want to come up and read Lady Croom?
Having open auditions has been one of the highlights of the town players. No show is pre-cast. Anybody who walks in the door to audition for a part has as good a chance as anybody else.
The thing that I look for first and foremost are people who understand the character and they can connect with someone else on the stage.
You know, she gets it, but she wants to get him to tell her. And he's trying to avoid it because he doesn't want to have the conversation with her.
Acting is not about pretending to be someone else. Acting is about accepting circumstances that are not real, but within those unreal circumstances, the characters react to each other and interact with each other in a truthful way.
Whenever you are ready.
Okay. Septimus, what is cardinal embrace?
Stony ground.
That was a sin of Onan.
Despite the freezing weather, the turnout is great. Dozens of people want to be in the play.
You should try it. It's very underrated.
Nothing against it.
Is this geometry?
It is very difficult, Septimus. You will have to show me how.
But one of the biggest dangers is casting the wrong person in a crucial role.
What's your initial gut?
You can be sitting there sort of thinking, well, I don't know, can I make this work? Can I not make it work?
He was at Oxford.
He's 90% of the way there, but he's very stiff.
He can be anything. He can be a...
So, thus far, the only...
But I don't know that he can take direction.
And then someone comes in on the wind, they walk up on the stage, they pick up the script, they start to talk, and you think, oh my gosh, this person not only is perfect for this part, but is a really good actor.
For this production of Arcadia, these are the town players of New Canaan. A few of them are professionally trained, with credits on stage, television, and film. Most have performed here before.
Certainly when I started, all theaters had a resident company, and so it created a community. You knew all of the actors, you knew how to work with them.
So you pretend you like each other. It's called acting.
We don't run in rep here, we're not a repertory theater, but we do have a community that allows us to work with the same people all the time and allows us to know the other actors that we're working with.
Oh, this will be good.
I think it makes for an incredibly high quality of theater. And now in the professional theater, no theaters can afford to do that.
Right from the start, the town players have been a mix of people with professional show business experience and amateurs with a passion for theater.
The town players of New Canaan started around 1946. It was after the war. People started moving out from New York, and a lot of people thought it would be fun to put together a community theater.
Most of the sets at that time were built in our barns.
Sherry Dean and Tanya Bickley are sisters. Their parents were part of the original town players.
My memory as a child was All the people coming in and out of the barns to get warm, they had a kerosene heater up in the barns, but there was no heat, and it could get cold up there. So my mother made hundreds of pots of coffee.
This is a great creative outlet, whether they're a lawyer, an accountant, a dentist, to people who had had more experience on stage. It's everybody sharing the same interest, and it's just to put on a good show.
This theater is a great level playing field. It brings people of disparate backgrounds together, people who might otherwise be on the opposite side of opinions, town politics, whatever it is. This is a common place where everyone can enjoy the arts together and get up on stage and express themselves through a role, through a performance for an audience. They have an opportunity to ham it up.
We now have in our members second and third and now even fourth generation town players.
Friendships are deep. The friendships are based on high tolerance for idiosyncrasy, because you have to admit that a whole theater full of creative people with differing points of view is quite a circus act with all the balls in the air.
A room on the garden front of a very large country house in Derbyshire in April 1809.
She must be delighted with her kind of job.
We start by reading at the table, and everybody reads for sense so that we understand who these people are and what it is they're doing.
And you need to really know, what are your political views? You know, what are your ethical standards, your morals? Who do you like? Who do you not like? What are you attached to?
It's a way for each actor to take the text, deconstruct it, and create a character for himself or herself.
Miss Peacock, what can I do for you?
Well, to begin with, you can call me Bernard, which is my name.
Thank you.
And then I ask them to look at the scenes that they're in, figure out what you want in that scene and how you're going to get it. Basically, why did I walk on stage? What do I want to accomplish? And how am I going to do it?
Oh, the Chinese bridge, fantasy. And the shrubbery I reject with contempt.
And if you can answer all those questions really specifically, you can create a character that is interesting and real and vibrant and interactive. And if everybody does it, then we have a cast of characters we all want to watch.
Are you a journalist?
No.
The text is everything. It's the Bible. If you have a really well-written text, you have a beautiful place to start.
Arcadia is an incredible place to start. This highly regarded play by Tom Stoppard moves back and forth between centuries and interweaves mathematical theorems with romantic comedy.
The sum of the first two can never equal the third when n is greater than 2. Nevertheless, that is the theorem.
It's disgusting and incomprehensible. Now, when I am grown to practice it myself, I shall never do so without thinking of you.
I think it's kind of The Economist meets People magazine. It is very heady, it's very cerebral, but there's lots of good, juicy, lively, engaging stuff as well. My hyacinth dell is become a haunt for hobgoblins.
Arcadia is clever, witty, and sophisticated. But that doesn't make it easy to pull off.
It's such beautiful language. When something that happens with this kind of language, you can't exactly just make it up. Doesn't work quite as well as some other shows, but we'll do our best.
Je te demande, Thomasina, as a courtesy to the Count.
Where else, except the circus, do you go and see a performance without a safety net? This is it. People have to do this show every night the same way, memorizing their lines, not walking into the furniture, and working with other people, engaging another human being, listening to them.
It's a very large cast, and when you have a big group, you can spend a lot of time sort of managing bodies, getting people in the right place at the right time, when are the rehearsals, all that sort of thing.
Noakes is over here.
He is
Stage right.
Stage left. I have stage left, and he's trying to leave when she comes in.
Okay.
An assistant director and stage manager help keep rehearsals organized and productive.
A little bit of what Stoppard does with the butterfly effect.
A dramaturg does research to maintain historical accuracy.
When he shifts in his mathematics, he shifts to chaos theory and thermodynamics.
Everything from costumes to setting. Is that the right kind of table or mug that they would have used in that period? What would a person of this stature socially have been thinking? What would their challenges have been?
As we break this down, you'll find the pieces of this that work, pieces of your argument.
Right now, the production is facing challenges of its own.
In this play, there are a few places that aren't quite working, and I'm not sure why. What I mean by that is I must not understand the text. I'm not quite sure what the playwright is asking for. When I was a young actor, I used to just ignore that. I don't really know what's going on there, so I'll just pretend like I do and ignore it. And I learned that that's a very bad thing to do.
First, to my biggest ally, because I know she's going to believe it. And I'm going to show her and all of this, and I'm going to end with a joke.
Directing a play is obsessive in a way. It gets in under your skin, and no matter what you're doing all day long, there's always some nagging thing about something you couldn't work out or something that isn't right.
She's not the only one facing some challenges.
11:45. For your essay this week, explicate your diagram. It's making the really, really heady ideas in this play playable as dialogue with intentions and feelings and needs and wants behind those things.
It is a salvator.
Calibrating the right tempo and tone and texture, that's an extraordinary challenge for me.
Oh, no, not the gazebo.
The danger, of course, is that it can be a caricature because she's large, she is immense, she fills a room, she is bombastic.
Line, what does it really amount to? What does it really amount to when all is said and done?
I was initially overwhelmed by just the sheer number of lines and getting all those down with an English accent, no less. And I think also I probably kind of worked from the outside in and made some, not necessarily wrong choices, but ones that as we went along didn't really work.
Did it happen? Could it happen? Undoubtedly it could.
Stop you before you even start.
Okay.
I always find if you spend time with them and you work on basically throwing the ball, which is talking and listening and talking and listening, you can break it down to the basics and we can usually make it work.
Oh, it's all right, I'll read it to myself.
No!
It's like taking a walk every day on the same path. As you're becoming more and more familiar, you're finding more and more details and more things to work with.
The town players have a major plus, the PowerHouse Performing Arts Center in Waveney Park.
There's a magic to working in a space like this.
For more than 30 years, the town players were itinerant performers, performing in lecture halls, churches, schools, anywhere they could find or create a stage. Then, in the late 1970s,
this building was being used by the town to store equipment, and they saw an opportunity for the town players to be able to convert it into a theater space.
We completely privately raised all the funds for the PowerHouse. It took 4 years. Many people say they would absolutely kill for the space that we have, that it's such a wonderful contained theater. And I believe that's one of the things that makes us very special.
This is the best kind of venue to experience theater in. There isn't a bad seat in the house. It's 115 seats. You can only be 7, 8 rows away from the stage. As an actor on the stage, you can make eye contact with the person in the back row and vice versa. It's a very intimate setting. It's like theater in your living room.
It's really almost a replica of a little Broadway theater. Everything that you could want in a theater, it has it in miniature. It has a costume shop upstairs. It has a scene shop in the basement.
Bob showed me generally what he was looking for, even sent me a picture of something he found that is like what he's looking for. And then I turned it into something I could build on this stage and made it fit to our dimensions. It's a lot of detailed woodworking, and the last show kind of wore out some of our flats, so I have to replace the deck of the stage.
This is a large cast. This is 13 people. All of them need at least 2 costumes.
I like this blue.
Yeah, it helps it pop, doesn't it?
It does, and it helps bring it into the right period. Yeah. I'm looking at creating 5 dresses, 5 pairs of pants, recreating a couple different vests. That's a lot of stuff to make, so that usually keeps me up at night when I've got a big pile of creations to do.
It's extraordinary how many people it takes to put this team together.
I can make it smaller, I can't make it bigger. How many town players does it take to screw in a light bulb?
We've got programs, posters, costumes, sets. We've got coffee in the green room for the cast at night who are in here rehearsing after a long day.
And it's all done with less money than a Broadway production spends on coffee.
Nobody is paid. We've had a long-standing policy from the day this theater was created that we're about a volunteer effort because we're borrowing where we can. We're, robbing from Peter to pay Paul, as it were.
I scrimp and save. If you can find fabric on a discount, it is wonderful. The fabric I'm using right now, I'm going to make one of the dresses from $1 a yard. How can you go wrong with that?
It takes as much effort to put on a community theater play as it does in off-Broadway theater or even Broadway theater. The budgets are less. The actors are aspiring actors, consummate amateurs, former professionals, but all who have a passion to create art.
In my opinion, there's not much difference between professional and community theater in the sense that really great community theater is a terrific evening out, and a really great professional theater is a great evening out.
What is that noise?
The new Broadwood pianoforte, madam.
It's Tech Sunday. Ah! We have 5 days to go. And so today is when the entire show comes together. We have the music. Fantastic. I love it.
We have the lights.
That way everybody will be able to run the show with cues. How many? 25.
We have the technical director and the people who are running all of those things.
This is what it's like to drive a submarine. I don't get to see the show. I get to hear it and look at a computer screen.
The crew's been in here now for 48 hours, pretty much nonstop.
What level is that now?
Lots of issues can be revealed on Tech Sunday. Things like the blocking may be wrong.
Will the doors be open the whole time? Or they close and reopen and close?
They'll be open. They'll stand open.
We find out that the costuming doesn't work.
Can we see her in the younger?
Sans zipper.
Or we thought we had the right music for the waltz or for the interludes, and you play it and everyone cringes.
Go sound.
Doors.
No, I'm sorry. It was more gunshots.
There was probably an extra 2 inches. Is that safe to say?
Yes, an inch on each side.
Yeah, 2 inches on either side. And oh well, we'll say it politely. The oh darn moment is when you realize there's only a half an inch and you can fill it. But when there's 2 inches on either side, you realize you have to actually rebuild it.
The town players have staged more than 300 productions, and every single one has been a roll of the dice.
We have had some of the shows that really have been stinkers.
They improve their odds by being very selective about the plays they produce.
Last year, we read over 200 plays to pick 5 plays for this season.
Each season, the town players stage 5 full-blown productions, ranging from Shakespeare to light comedy to musical reviews.
Choosing our season is one of the hardest decisions we make in any given year.
And the season's got to entertain. We'd like it to educate. We want it to stimulate conversation.
And that is what the cast and crew hope they pull off with this production.
It takes some prayer and some hoping and some calling and making sure everybody's here and on the same page and it's all working and it makes sense.
This is it. The lights are hot and the customers are paying, and you want so desperately to give it your best shot. The most frightening aspect of it, without a doubt, this is live theater. You are flying without a net. No one is going to yell cut. You don't get a do-over unless you have nerves of steel. It's a fairly intense, high-anxiety moment.
What is carnal embrace?
Carnal embrace is the practice of throwing one's arms around a side of beef.
Everyone remembers their lines, no one bumps into the furniture, and the audience laughs when they're supposed to laugh.
Not really, but I often sit with my eyes closed and it doesn't necessarily mean I'm awake.
I always knew it was funny and I laughed at it, but the actors found so many things, and when it came together, it is hilarious.
Are you in love with my mother, such miss?
You must not be cleverer than your elders. It's not polite.
Even better, Arcadia is a hit. Over the next few weeks, a number of the performances sell out.
The opportunity in community theater is twofold. One, it's to get out there and see a live performance of a production that you might not otherwise see, whether it's a musical or whether it's Shakespeare or whether it's Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians. You can experience live theater. The second part of that is you can experience live theater at a very affordable rate. Our ticket prices are extremely low, as are all community theater by nature. And you're close to home. See a great show, and you're 5 minutes from your house at 10 o'clock at night.
At the end of each show, the cast comes out from backstage. It creates a connection between the town players and the audience, and without an audience, there wouldn't be any town players.
We couldn't get up here and perform without 115 people out there in the audience enjoying it for us, because they give us the energy on stage. And the community is very much supportive of what we do here.
The town players of New Canaan return the community support in a variety of ways, such as the student stage shop for young people. They also offer workshops for new actors, directors, playwrights, and technicians, run food drives, and provide scholarships to students interested in the theater.
Town Players has really touched a lot of people's lives through the years. I love how there's so many different organizations that are participating in volunteering here.
As a community theater, we're actually able to reach out and help in our community, as well as providing the service of great entertainment here.
I figure if we take these things down and just stack them off to the side, once we get to drop down, we'll be like a barn door.
It was a good run, and I think the sentiment last night was that, we wish we could have another weekend of it.
The good news about Strike is it's much easier to take a set down than it is to put one up.
Just be careful the drop behind you, you don't rip it, it's rented.
Okay.
All right?
Wait, don't rip it.
The bad news,
it's the moment where you know for certain the show is over. It's the sharp transition from the show being up to the show being gone. Each of these shows is a metaphor for life. You start with a blank stage, emptiness, nothing. You build an entire universe, the sets, the lines, the people, the story. All of that's created and experienced, and then at a moment like today, which is going to happen in a few minutes, that whole universe collapses onto itself and it's done.
How many times over the past few weeks have you gone, why do I do this?
It's a thrill, it's a love, it's a challenge.
This is my hobby.
I kind of think of theater, too, as like the ultimate, for me, personally, team sport. My son may play lacrosse, but this is my sport.
It's a lot of fun.
I enjoy seeing the faces of the people when they go out on stage and they know that they look great.
Oh, Debbie.
It's the camaraderie. I've always found that when you work on a project with people, that's how you make your good friends.
It's one of those few areas of life where you're totally involved, head to toe, in every aspect of what's going on. And I think that's what's in it for me.
There have been some late nights in the past 2 weeks, and when I walk in the door at 11 o'clock at night and I have a child with 102 fever and my husband is leaving on a business trip the next morning and they need help with their homework and why wasn't I there and all of that, I think it's hard. But then I walk in the theater the next day and it is so much fun. These are my best friends. It's magic, and they play and they have fun and they're really good at what they do. And I think, how could I never not do theater? I love it. I love it so much.
days after Arcadia's final curtain, the process begins anew.
Have you met our turtle? It's Plowdison. What's the... Lightning. He's double cast. He actually plays 2 roles in the show. Oh, be careful now. I have to wear gloves because he bites.
Yeah, we had a real one for a day, and then we got this one. The real one was a little frisky, so.
Yes, he kept
Real one
falling
was
off the table.
Yes, yes. The Stanford Nature Center promised that if we just put him down and fed him strawberries and lettuce, nothing would happen. But it seemed to energize him. So this is our compromise turtle.